Hello, hockey fans, and welcome into the Overtime Podcast, presented by who else? The Dan K Show. It's me, Lucas Jones. It's another man in a different Zoom box with the same Zoom window. It's Dan K. Dan, welcome to the Overtime Podcast, presented by us. How you doing tonight?
I am doing splendid. It's a new league. It's a new place. It's a new level of play, but it's the same two faces for hockey fans who have been watching the Dan K Show for years. But now we are proud and excited to be a part of the AAU. I want to thank Mr. La Rochelle and Mr. Purowitz and other Mr. Purowitz, the brothers there who have brought us into the fray here, who we work together to kind of get this thing up and running off the ground and flying away. This is exciting times. Lucas, we have championed the sport of club hockey, as you call it, AAU hockey here for years since this thing has kicked off. And to watch the growth of the game in the AAU, not just in terms of school and participation, but in terms of the level of play on the ice, has been exciting for not just the game of hockey, but for fans like us to be a part of.
It's been awesome, right? And it's been amazing to watch it grow. And why have we been champions of it? Because we're champions of hockey. And we're champions of hockey players getting to actually play, while also really work on the student part of student athlete, right? It's a level that can be a home for so many reasons to so many people. And at the end of the day, when you can combine world-class educations, like you find at so many of these schools and universities, along with incredible hockey, competitive hockey, programs that offer training, the ability to continue to play a team sport, to develop that part of you, to play 1, 2, 3, 4 more years of one of the best sports in all the world. Yeah, 100% we champion it. And so we're excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, and if you want to know who the Dan K Show is, if this is your first time seeing these guys, I'm a guy with his own bobblehead, okay? I'm a guy who's going to be walking around in stuff like this. I am Knuff sweatshirts when we're running around the rink. We're going to bring the energy. We're going to bring the excitement, the accoutrements to the great game of hockey. And we bring a college game day style when we're in the rink. But when we're here on the podcast, when we're here on the talk show, when we're here in the Overtime Podcast, our job is to put a spotlight on the incredible work being done around the country, around the great US of A and beyond, especially now in the game of AAU college hockey. Lucas, we got a chance just a few weeks back to meet a few coaching staffs, and we hope over the next few days and weeks here, you all slide into our DMs and follow along at @Dan K Show. Introduce yourselves to us, and if you are interested in getting an interview on the podcast or being a guest on the podcast, reach out. That's how we get these things done.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we do, at least we think we do very well, is bringing a little bit of personality, right? Not just your over the top nonsense, right? That's not who we are. We are real people who love the sport of hockey and come from incredibly different backgrounds and have found this sort of interest in the game of hockey. And we've been doing this now, Dan. This is our 10th year covering the game of junior hockey. This is our 10th year covering the game of hockey. Previously, we've really only covered junior hockey, but over the last couple of years, we have migrated to the game of college hockey. Now, of course, the Overtime Podcast presented by the Dan K Show. So we've got the experience. We're not just a couple of talking heads yapping about a bunch of stuff we don't understand. We have watched a lot of hockey in the last 10 years, and we're ready to bring not just the hard-hitting analysis, but some whimsy, a professional amount of whimsy to the AAU. It's one of our specialties.
Yeah, and our success with the USPHL, a league we worked with for a long time, when we kicked off things with the USPHL, it was a 10-team league located from New Jersey to New Hampshire. That was the length of it, the extension of it. When we left the USPHL this past year, there were over 100 organizations nationwide into Canada, from Seattle down to San Diego, from Southern Florida up to Maine. That was the success of the Dan K Show. That was the Dan K Show as kind of the PR marketing broadcasting, entertainment arm, social media, everything for the USPHL over those years. Now, we hope to bring that same success to the AAU with its great leadership, help folks do something called vote with their feet, and help folks to see just what the game of AAU hockey has to offer from the Division 1 ranks down to Division 3. And I'll tell you what, club hockey has been something that for years it's been I don't know. I don't know about going to play. I don't know about going to the AAU, Dan. I don't know about it, Lucas. It's NCAA or bust. Well, guess what? We've got a conversation about a game that happened just a few weeks ago that I think the whole world of hockey was talking about, where a little UNLV engine that could took down the defending national champs. AAU hockey fans, welcome in. You know who we are now. We've introduced ourselves. You know who you will be hearing from about all things AAU to come. But crazy enough, the first storyline we have to cover here as the new host of the Overtime Podcast presented by the Dan K Show is about UNLV hockey at the ACHA Division One level. A momentous win, not just for UNLV, but for club hockey everywhere throughout the United States of America. So this man comes in screeching eagle style off a win over Canada in that USA garb. James Blano, who works with us here at the Dan K Show, he just wrote an article about this win. James, UNLV, they get this win. Talk about it. Lay the framework. What does it all mean?
Yeah, I mean, despite the fact that Denver was missing some of their key pieces in that game, it's still a massive testament to the closing of the talent gap in hockey in the United States of America. You talk about there's only 60 some odd Division One teams, and then even less D3. There's a lot of players that end up going to these club teams. We talk about there's some D3 players on there. There's some NAHL players on there. There's some EHL players on there. There's players from junior leagues all across the country on this UNLV club team. And it goes to show that the development is so much better than what the lack of coverage per se is giving it credit for.
Yeah, and I think you look at it. I've talked to folks at nauseum about this. You look at NCAA Division One football, over 200 opportunities when you count the FCS and FBS. You look at NCAA Division One basketball, nearly 400 opportunities to play basketball, and that's just in March Madness with how many teams play in that thing now. And you look at it though, hockey, not that opportunity, not those numbers between NCAA Division One, Division Two, and Division Three combined as a whole under the NCAA emblem. The importance of the club hockey game, the importance of leagues like the AAU creating opportunities for these players to then come out and win these big games. Lucas, this is a huge moment last night.
Yeah, I mean, I think James, in the article you wrote, I think you put it best, right? It's that the talent gap is closing, and we've been advocates for a long time about club hockey and what it can do for players, and looking at it through the lens of really only one win. It's one win, but I think it signals a trend that may have been growing the last couple years in terms of club hockey providing fantastic options for hockey players from all over the country.
Yeah, I mean, you look at UNLV's schedule. They played NCAA competition before, and they played Denver before. Earlier this year, I talked about it, I believe, in my article about how they played Lindenwood, bottom feeder NCAA team, lost by multiple goals to them.
But I think the other thing too is we've talked and continue to talk about the CHL decision, right, and injecting a lot of talent into the Division One level. Where the trickle down starts to happen is more talent, even more talent coming to the club level, which do you think we start to see a lot of expansion at the club level in terms of these opportunities?
I don't think it's expansion as much as it is the raising of the prestige in club hockey.
Yeah.
This was just the spark that's going to light a massive bonfire of club hockey transfers, guys from all over the place. UNLV's goalie was a third string at UNH for 4 years. Mike McMahon talked about it. I talked about it. And a guy like that could get beat out by a CHL recruit. And it's just going to raise the amount of talent in these homegrown club hockey programs. And it's going to really signal like, hey, USA can keep up with Canadian hockey development too, and it's time to expand NCAA level.
And I think the biggest thing you talk about is it's one of the things that kind of bought us in with this AAU product here. It's the idea of creating these brands in markets that don't have NCAA hockey, right? You look at the AAU level, the University of South Carolinas, the University of Florida's, these schools that have the funding, that have the backing to potentially go NCAA one day. It's not just a great opportunity for a young athlete to play club hockey, but it's a great opportunity for young athletes to potentially pave the way at schools like UNLV here, who won this one to play NCAA one day, which then just raises the level of your club team in that building, right? You see a lot of the most successful club teams come from places too where there is an NCAA team in the building, or there is an ACHA or an AAU Division One that trickles down to 2, 3 and allows teams to recruit better, to create playing opportunities for everyone of every level at the next level. It's a momentous occasion. We said it at the beginning, we say it again for all of club hockey, for everyone at this level.
You talk about the trickle down effect. Arizona State started their program in the mid 2010s because their club team was so good and because they had an NHL team in that market. You look at UNLV, the Vegas Golden Knights, the amount of money that Bill Foley has poured into that team and into that market. What's to say he takes some money out of AFC Bournemouth and puts it in the UNLV hockey program, and all of a sudden they go NCAA D1?
And as an Everton fan, every dollar we can take from Bournemouth and put into UNLV hockey, I am all about. Please do so. Sack Bournemouth. That's what we say.
Oh, I don't. For the three people potentially listening who know what these two are talking about, thank you for tuning in. But yeah, no, I think it does come down to money, right? And James, I know you said it's kind of the spark that gets this thing going in terms of prestige, but maybe it does also spark some more investment, right? If you can invest as a business person in a hockey team that is getting ready to make moves, in theory, you're going to be able to get a lot more return on your investment, right? Trying to buy in at and improve a team standing and really inject it with that money. Really, the difference between D1 and D3 and AAU, sometimes it comes down to the facilities, right? We joked about the personal chef and carrying your own bags, but really, what does it mean? It's support. How much support do the players get? And I think with a little bit of investment in some of these club teams, you really do multiply that in terms of the support these players receive.
Yeah, I mean, even just having someone like a strength and conditioning coach could make so many of these teams keep up so much more, not easily, but evenly, with a lot of the scholarship teams having the opportunities in their schedule to practice, maybe not at 8, 9 o'clock, even 10 o'clock at night, somewhere off campus. Just the conveniences, the simple investments of facilities and personnel could even the playing field dramatically.
Ladies and gentlemen, what this win does for hockey as a whole, it changes the way we look. It changes perspective when we look at club hockey. And I know James has said so, Lucas has said so, I've said the same thing. Denver is not going to feel like they've done something great. They're going to be disappointed, right? They're going to be upset out there. But you look at this, they might have done something for USA hockey as a whole and development hockey as a whole that's bigger than the moment, bigger than this moment itself. For players out there looking for the next opportunity, it's moments like these that show that gap, that divide that was there in a lot of minds isn't there. When it comes to playing style, when it comes to playing ability, there are more highly skilled and talented players out there than there are locations for them to play in NCAA and professional hockey right now in the current makeup of the hockey playing system. You talk to any player who played in the 80s or the early 90s, they will tell you that the worst player today is more skilled than anybody that we're facing in the 80s and 90s at these levels of hockey and these levels of the game. The game has caught up and passed and surpassed time and time again the amount of opportunities at the next level. AAU is your next place to play. It is the next step in your career, not just for hockey, but for education. The NCAA was founded for what, ladies and gentlemen? It was founded to ensure the academic experience and the educational experience was the big word in its founding, paramount over any athletic experience to be played. And that's what the AAU is all about. You will get that paramount educational and academic experience at some of the most accredited and incredible universities around the country. And you'll get a chance to play the game of hockey at a high level with some of the best from around the world. James, we thank you for joining us this week to talk UNLV, and we'll have you back for some more.
All right. Thanks, guys.
A fun conversation there about a fun moment in the sport of hockey for everybody. And Lucas, what I think, as much as you do not want to be on that side of history, if you're the NCAA Division One side that drops that game to UNLV, I think at the end of the day, when you get far enough away from it, far enough away from the result, it might be one of the biggest moments for growth of hockey in the U.S. and beyond that we've had in a long time. I think it's an opportunity for players to see that some of these great playing opportunities in a league like the AAU can be difference makers, not just on the ice. They can continue to play the game at a high level like the AAU provides, but also in the classroom. You can now get the academics you've always wanted without losing the game of hockey to go along with it.
More opportunities is better. If those opportunities have education and high-level hockey, that is even better than just opportunity, right? And we're big champions for the student half a student athlete. We're big champions for the athlete half a student athlete. And I think what that win shows is that the preconceived notion of the talent gap is starting to go away. That gap is shrinking with the radical changes coming to NCAA D1 in terms of Canadian eligibility in the CHL. It's going to change even more. And I think it puts programs like the AAU in such a good place to be ready for those changes, to be ready to have their talent expanded, to be ready to see the growth of the AAU in a way that is really positive, not just for the schools that are a part of it, but for the students that play for those schools in a lot of different ways.
Lucas, it's time to talk AAU hockey, baby. We're going to do a little rundown of where we stand today as of airing in the AAU Division 1, AAU Division 2, and AAU Division 3 levels. We start with a standings update from Division 1 College Hockey South. Lucas, the University of South Carolina, leading the way right now with 4 games played in hand. 4 extra games played at 13-4-2 on the second place University of Georgia, tied though in points at 28 total on the year. The University of Tennessee in third place with 27 points, 13-2-1. The University of Tampa, a school just in Dan K's backyard, doing a great job in the early going with 20 points of their own. The University of Florida, University of Alabama, and Auburn University round out those 7 teams in College Hockey South Division 1. The biggest storyline for me, Lucas, 6 of those 7 teams a plus goal differential on the year.
And you love to see that, right? That goes to show you that there's a lot of really close hockey that's being played. You look at a school like the University of Alabama, who we actually met down in Florida just as 2024, the last few days ticked out on that year. They were great to talk to. We introduced ourselves, and I think when you see positive goal differentials up and down, it just means that there's a lot of really good hockey being played. And for the University of South Carolina, yeah, you're on top, but those games in hand will make even the most steely-eyed teams a little bit nervous as you head down the stretch.
And for South Carolina, it has been none other than John Riggins, the centerman, all year long, leading all in Division One in points right now. 20 goals scored, 18 assists, 38 points, 14 power play points, 7 power play goals, 7 power play assists. He's added 3 points shorthanded this season. This young man also heads the box a bit, 37 PIMs on the year. John Riggins hitting everything, scoring everything. This guy is a difference maker, when he's on the ice.
Yeah, he's just barrel full of chaos. That's what he is, right? Is it going to be the physical game? Is it going to be, the showman game? But you love to see a guy like that. Everybody wishes they had a guy like that on their team.
Yeah, Lucas, this is going to be a fun division down the stretch here. On our next episode, we'll start to break down these schedules down the road, where we're looking towards nationals, what it looks like towards the playoff season. We'll have all that coming at you soon. But first, We're going to talk the Empire Collegiate Hockey Conference. Let's take a look at the standings. Leading the way, Farmingdale State College, 13-4-1. They've got 28 points on the year. Second place, the University of Delaware, 11-7-0 with 22 points. I'm going to say it right. Quinnipiac University, 9-3-0 with 18 points. I didn't say it right. Fairfield University in fourth. Go ahead, Lucas.
You didn't say it right. James
Winnipeg.
Plano is going to be upset with you now.
Winnipeg. I do it now just to get James Blumenau upset. I'm not going to say his name right. I'm not going to say Quinnipiac right. I'm not going to say it all.
I mean, all of that aside, I think this is another division where the teams up top are a little nervous, right? They've got 6 more games on their record than Quinnipiac does. They've got 8 more games than Fairfield. There's points there. And there's a lot of ground that can be made up throughout the rest of the season. And again, you are seeing a conference here with a positive goal differentials. Farmingdale State taking a few PIMs of their own as well, 268 penalty minutes through 18 games. But again, these are schools that they go to war each and every game.
Yeah, and I got to talk about the offense right now coming out of Farmingdale State. This is a team with 93 goals for in just 18 games played. You got a netminder right now in Joseph DeCanio, who has big days here and there, but he's not put up the stats of a guy with the most wins in Division One hockey right now in the AAU, but he's got 8 Ws on the season to his name in 12 games started. But Lucas, it's been the dueling Thomases in Farmingdale that are dominating right now. Thomas Konkowski and Thomas Ivers. Konkowski, the left winger, he's got 20 goals, 13 assists, 33 points, tied for the league lead in goals with John Riggins. Thomas Ivers, 4 goals, 23 assists. That's a league leader there. 27 points on the year for him. These two have been monsters, and they've done it in 2 different ways. Ivers kind of the creative, the skilled, the silky mitts. Konkowski, another guy built from the Riggins chisel here. This is a guy who hits hard. This is slobber knocking hockey. He's got 30 PIMs on the year to go with all these stats. A fun team to watch in Farmingdale.
Yeah, everybody loves offense, and if you're putting up just over 5 goals a game, somewhere around 5.1 it looks like, that's a pretty good offense in my book.
The École des Technologies Supérieures, they've got 3 wins, 2 losses on the year, 7 points.
We
Lucas,
apologize again for that pronunciation.
4 years, 4 years of French, 4 years of French.
4 years of French that you took with me,
Wait.
and somehow we managed to learn nothing.
That we took French there. Upstate New York Collegiate Hockey League. This is D1 right here as well. Your final division to talk about before we move on to the AAU Division II level. Binghamton University leads the way at 11-3-1, 23 points, a plus 33 goal differential on the year. St. Bonaventure, the Bonnies, 9-4-1 with 20 points on the year. Niagara University in third place with 17 points of their own. SUNY Cortland, Cornell University, and the University of Buffalo round out there. That 6-team division in the Upstate New York Collegiate Hockey League.
Yeah, upstate New York, I mean, it's a bit of a powerhouse right now. You are talking about an area that has a lot of great schools at a lot of different levels of the game, and I think this certainly proves that rule for sure. Binghamton in first right now. These standings a little bit closer, a little less of a games in hand discrepancy here, but I think for Binghamton, they are looking at those Bonnies in the rearview mirror, and they are sweating.
Yeah, Peter Skidmore leading the way for netminders in that division right now. 8 wins on the season at 2.55 goals against average. He's had a strong start to this one. From St. Bonaventure, Kyle Karaleski in 6 games played. He's got a 909 saves percentage and a 2.51. This is a goal scorers league this year right now in the Division One level. It has been tough on netminders across the board. You see a lot of plus goal differentials, and it's because those high scoring, high flying matchups have come everywhere. And I'll tell you what, a guy whose head is in the clouds in terms of performance this year is Michael Clouden from St. Bonaventure University. 26 points in the year, 12 goals, 14 assists. This is a must-watch left winger when he gets the puck on his stick. He's been fun. Owen Hughes joins him, his centerman, 10 goals, 14 assists on the year for 24 points. This is a division that can score the puck with the best of them. Come Nationals time, Lucas, whatever goalie decides to show up and stand on his head could be the one that raises a cup at the end of the year for his squad. Someone's got to get hot.
You can't overstate how important it is to have a goalie that has momentum heading towards the end of the season. Keep an eye on this one, and we'll see if this is the case.
We head to AAU Division Two. We start in the Atlantic Coast Collegiate Hockey League, the Division Two level here. 10 teams battling it out all season long, and a school that we got a chance to meet in Estero, Florida. Lucas, High Point University stands atop them all. Play the most games, 22 games played right now, 37 points in the year, 18-3-1. That is a group of leadership there in High Point that cares more than most. What a group leading that organization.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they are putting in the work, both in the win column and in the games played column right there. And you look at how that record plays out over those 22 games. 18-3-1 is no small feat by any measure of it, right? So for High Point, they are looking like an absolute juggernaut in the Atlantic coast, but a lot of great schools in that area as well. You're looking at some win percentages. 808 for Denison, 600 for Wake Forest University. And then you've got some schools who are just a couple of wins in a row away from really starting to make a run.
Yeah, Jack Slayton leading the way for High Point with 34 points on the year, 17 goals, 22 goals, 12 assists on the year for 34 points. Dan K trying to do math on the fly, and I'll tell you what, you'll learn one thing about Dan K, AAU fans. I love math when it comes playoff time. We're going to do a thing called pool math when you get to natties. You are going to absolutely adore it to the folks watching along in Jacksonville. Lucas does not adore it as much. I am Steve Kornacki come playoff time. I am Steve Kornacki. I will give you every single breakdown of every single possibility of every single game. But you give me some simple like point goal math to do, give me a couple hours. I got to sit down.
You can see the steam coming out of his ears. As you get more familiar with us, folks, sometimes you'll hear me joke around about his power play math, forcing Dan K on the fly to figure out how many minutes each version of a power play will be. That is certainly must-see TV.
Jack Vieira and Brian Scopel have been very good in net for High Point in their time between the pipes. 911 saves percentage for Vieira, 258 goals against, 10-2 on the year for Scopel. He's got 6 wins, just 1 loss, a 923 saves percentage. That's a team that's getting net minding. Denison University sits in second place now with 9 less games played than High Point. So 21 points on the year, but not out of it yet, 10-3-0. Wake Forest University in third place, trailing them James Madison University. Then George Washington University, University of North Carolina at Charlotte. Charlotte for short for some of you watching at home, UNC Charlotte. St. Joe's University, University of Richmond, East Carolina, and finally West Virginia, who some argue, Lucas, the best Virginia. But East Carolina, there, 12 games played, 1-11 on the year. Not where they want to be right now in the early going, but I'll tell you what, Wake Forest in third place has been an even back and forth team all year long. 39 goals for, 39 against. They'll be an interesting watch down the stretch.
Yeah, for Wake Forest, they seem poised for a breakout. So that's another one we're certainly going to keep our eyes on as they continue to rack up more games and hopefully some more goals.
Division II College Hockey South, we've got a lot to talk about. Middle Tennessee State University, 16-1-1, a plus 98 goal differential. University of South Florida, they've played 20 games, Lucas. They are 15-4-1. The biggest story in those 20 games played, how about Grant Dietz? 24 goals, 23 assists, 47 points, 18 power play points. He's 1 minute in the box away from triple digits while doing all that. 99 PIMs for the young man.
How does he find the time?
He's scoring them. He must be on the ice 60 minutes a game.
That is a busy young man right there. And this is another reason why we're so excited to really get involved in AAU hockey, is to just learn who our players to watch are, learn who our superstars are, learn who our deep cuts are going to be, right? This is exciting stuff.
Yeah, and look at Middle Tennessee State, right, who we talked about at the top. Matthew Siciliano with 44 points. Ethan DeMumbrum, the human drum roll, as we call him, 15 goals, 27 assists for 42 points. And Brendan Ogle, he's got 18 and 24, that's 42 points. They are third, fourth, and fifth overall in points in the entirety of this thing. This team has been tough to beat by any standards, it's going to be the University of South Florida and Middle Tennessee State show down the stretch here in my mind. Florida Atlantic, though, plus 43 goal differential, 11-2-1. Central Florida at 8-8-1. University of Tampa D2 there, success as well, kind of mimicking what they're seeing at the Division One level, win-loss wise. Lynn University, Vanderbilt, Ole Miss getting involved as well. We know some folks at the Ole Miss squad there, Lucas. The Crean shows talk to us from there, right? Is that we've gotten that right? Then the University of Miami, Florida Southern, Georgia Tech, the Ramblin' Wreck, Embry-Riddle, Clemson, and the University of Alabama in Huntsville. There is talent aplenty going around college hockey South Division Two.
Yeah, and you got to look at those win percentages, right? That is, or those points percentages, I should say. That is really what's going to tell the story, right? How many points are you earning for how many games? And when you have a little bit of disparity between the amount of games that are played, you look at a school like the University of Tampa D2 sitting at a 607. You continue that clip, you bump that clip up a little bit, all of a sudden you move from 5 to 4, maybe even higher.
We move to the Delaware Valley Collegiate Hockey Conference. Pennsylvania State University at Harrisburg, 12-6-1, 26 points at .684 point percentage. Newman University, Kutztown University, Dan K almost messed up. Almost messed up. I'm from Jersey. You got to know Kutztown over there. And then Shippensburg University, rounding out on the back end there. But Penn State, Harrisburg, man, 44 plus in the goal differential department. They got 25 power play goals. That's where they really found their success.
Yeah, when you can be that successful on the power play, when you can provide that much scoring. And, look no further, I think, also than their 6 shorthanded goals that they've also rep in the statistics column, right? Like, this is a team that whether they're up a man, whether they're down a man, whether they're even strength, they find ways to get it done. And that's how you kind of turn lemons into lemonade on the shorthanded side. That's how coach gets real happy after a game, when you put power play goals in the back of the net. They're really doing it all there at Harrisburg.
Didn't know you could turn lemons into lemonade.
How did you think we got lemonade?
I don't know, man. Lemonade tree?
You're technically not wrong.
Kind of got it.
Kind of got it. We'll give it to you.
Jake Stasic. He's got 15-12 in 19 games played, 5-5 on the power play. Luca's still thinking through the lemonade tree over there. I can see it burning through his brain right now. Professors everywhere tuning in, frustrated with Dan K. The Empire Collegiate Hockey Conference. You got 4 more teams there. Farmingdale State College D2. They're leading D1. Why not lead it in D2 as well with 26 points? Ramapo College of New Jersey, 11-11-0 on this season. Hey, my sister went there, so some family alumnus to Ramapo. Sacred Heart University, and finally Fordham rounds them out.
Yeah, once again, I think the Empire coming through with some competition here. You're seeing a couple of negative goal differentials, but I think the other thing you're seeing are points percentages that are very close.
Lucas, the big storyline in this division in this conference are 2 netminders who have played every single time out. Alec Rittenhouse from Ramapo, 22 starts. He's seen 851 shots against him. He's got a .906 saves percentage. He's 11-11 on the year. Then you go to Luke Richardson with Farmingdale State. He's seen 19 starts this year. He's seen 643 shots against. He's got about a 90% saves percentage, 10-7 on the year with 2 ties. These two, when you got a game, they're between the pipes.
And that's something you can count on, right? That reliability, that is something you certainly want to see, and you hope that they can continue to keep it up, because those are some pretty tough tasks to continue on with.
The New England Independent Hockey Conference at the AAU Division II level, Massachusetts Maritime Academy. They've got 20 games played, 13-6-1 on the year, 27 points. Anna Maria College. How do you solve a problem like Anna Maria? Something Dan K said a lot while he was playing at Albertus. Bishop's University there at D2, 9 games played, 6-3 on the year. Stonehill College, and then Babson rounds it out. Some great academic institutions in this conference.
Yeah, some absolutely stellar resumes that are coming through. And, I think for Anna Maria, you have it right, Dan. How do you solve a problem like that? How do you solve a problem where a team's 9-1 in 10 games? Where in 10 games, they've scored 7.4 goals in those games per game. That could be a problem down the stretch. Massachusetts Maritime, though, they are putting in the work on their own, playing a lot of close hockey.
Yeah, and this Anna Maria team, they can play both ends of the ice. They're a fun one to watch. Massachusetts Maritime plus 14 goal differential. You don't see a team with this high of a win disparity to loss only at a plus 14. They're playing a lot of close games. They're struggling in some of those losses. It'll be interesting to see how they fare when we get towards the end of the season here. We move on to the Upstate New York Collegiate Hockey League. Paul Smith's College leads the way. And I'll tell you what, Paul Smith's College has some great scores on this side. Leading the way is Attila Quesnel. This young man with 21 goals, 24 assists, 45 points, good enough for second overall in all of AAU D2. And let's talk about the coolest disparity. He's 2 points behind Grant Dietz for the most points in all of AAU Division 2. Okay. Pims, he's 97 penalty minutes behind him. He's only got two on the year. Grant Dietz with 99.
So you're saying he's got more time on the ice to be able to come up with those 2 points, is what you're saying.
I'm saying that Grant Dietz might not ever take a shift. I think he just like trips somebody and heads to the box every time he needs a breather.
Well, I think there are a couple teams in this conference that certainly could need a breather because you've got a lot of really good competition up and down. You look at a school like Union College with an 8.57 points percentage, only 7 games played, and then you go a little bit higher. Some of the teams that do have double digits played, and you're seeing some places where, again, it feels like you could have a breakout. You talk about schools like Buffalo State University or SUNY Fredonia that are sitting at a -4 goal differential and a -1 respectively. I like teams and schools that are at those numbers, Dan. Those numbers are my breakout numbers. They are my breakout teams. Feels like they're just a little momentum away from making a run for it.
And you talk about two teams in Niagara and Buffalo State here that we see, talk about junior hockey guys who've traveled around the game of junior hockey. We see them recruiting everywhere. Those are two schools that work hard. We always talk about here at the Dan K Show, outwork everyone. Those guys are doing that in droves. That, Lucas, is the Division Two update. We now move to AAU Division Three here on the first ever Overtime Podcast presented by the Dan K Show. Go to the ACCHL, the Atlantic Coast Collegiate Hockey League Division Three level. Leading the way, it's a Jersey side from Rowan University.
Yeah, Rowan right here leading off this pack of very positive goal differentials. That one little note from the AAU website, the goal differentials in green and red. Little detail. I like seeing a lot of green at the top of my conferences, but it's the little things that really make a difference. And with Rowan, it is the little things that really make a difference. They've got 18 power play goals in 11 games. They are riding high right now with an 8.64 points percentage. Rowan having themselves a season.
Christopher Newport University, 8-1 on the year. Lucas, I don't know if you know this about Christopher Newport, but a powerhouse in NCAA Division III baseball year in and year out. Dan K had the pitch against them in his first ever NCAA Division III bout. They were a tough squad to get out and kind of navigate through. You start to get into that region of the country, man. Those boys know how to ball. Liberty University, always successful there in the Division III level. Appalachian State University, University of Maryland, High Point, then the United States Naval Academy with 5 wins and 4 losses in 9 games. Catholic University, 4-8. College of Charleston, Loyola University, Coastal Carolina, Wake Forest, and Widener round out those 13 squads in the ACCHL. We go to College Hockey South, Lucas, at the Division III level. And right now, leading it all is University of Tennessee with a plus 72 goal differential.
Yeah, that's crazy. Anytime you see a goal differential that is higher than the goals for statistics of other teams in the division, that is success. When you see a team that has 14 games played and sits in the lower middle end of the PIMS, that's a success. When you see a team that is 12-1-1, I mean, that's an unqualified success, I believe, at that point. So you look at what Tennessee has done so far. I think if they can keep that up, they're going to be a very, very difficult team to catch.
Yeah, and this is 16 teams in this division from top to bottom here, Lucas. Florida State in second, Florida Atlantic in third, South Carolina 8-0-1 on the year, yet to be beaten in regulation. Kennesaw State University, University of Alabama, roll tide, as they say. No Alabama Jones out there in Alabama. I cannot imagine they enjoyed that Shane Gillis joke. He might have lost some ticket sales in Tuscaloosa going forward. Embry-Riddle, the Aeronautical University, 6-11 on the year. University of Georgia, Florida Institute of Technology, USF, University of Florida, Austin, PA, Miami, Eastern Kentucky, University of North Florida, and University of Alabama at Birmingham round out those 16.
And that is a big, big conference. And then I think with the resume that a lot of those schools have, that is something where, you're going to get a lot of action down the stretch. I feel it.
Yeah, and you look at Florida Atlantic, they've got the top scorer in that conference right now in Aiden Georgiano. Georgiano, a right winger with 19 goals and 14 points, 30 and 14 assists for 33 points in just 11 games played. Christian Kucha, the right winger, at 11 and 21 and 12 games played at 32. Florida Atlantic's been scoring in bunches. Watch out for that offense as we move towards nationals. Delaware Valley Collegiate Hockey Conference, 4 teams. Alvernia leads the way. A school that once recruited Dan Kay and tried to bring him in before he chose Albertus, deciding on only thinking about AL Division III NCAA baseball schools during his junior year of college. Alvernia lost out to Albertus for Dan Kay, but right now, sitting just barely atop this conference, no one with a winning record in this conference right now. No one in the plus goal differential. It has been up and down all over the place. Salisbury University, Bloomsburg, and Lafayette College.
Yeah, but you again, you look at what it looks like inside this conference, right? And you're seeing teams that are close to one another. So, yes, they have not had the success potentially outside the conference playing some other teams, but I think inside the conference, these are teams that are looking around and they're saying, hey, we can jump out here. This conference is ripe for the taking. Right now, Alvernia obviously sitting in first with 14 games played. Salisbury University also 14 games played. That's slightly higher points percentage, but it's not by much.
And Lucas, don't look now, but we go to the Empire Collegiate.
I've already
Conference,
looked.
and I am going to have to excuse myself, my first and final episode here with the Overtime Podcast, because I think the rest of the time we'll be talking about the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers University.
On the banks of the old Raritan, my friends, where Rutgers evermore shall stand. That is the last time I will sing on the show, I promise. But as a Rutgers University alumnus, a proud, sometimes too proud, University of our Rutgers University alumnus, I am happy to see my boys at number 1 in the Empire Collegiate Hockey Conference. 13-4-1, a 7.78 points percentage, absolutely tearing it up with 115 goals. It's a high-flying Rutgers team, and I am excited to get to cover my alma mater in the game of hockey in the Empire Collegiate Hockey Conference. Let's go.
Yeah, and you look Stony Brook right behind them, Columbia University in this conference, Fairfield University in this conference. Dan Kay's got a graduate degree, a master's from the University of New Haven, the Chargers in this conference, Hofstra University, and Stevens Institute of Technology. We'll be diving deep into these schools as the year goes on.
Yeah, this is the Empire Collegiate Conferences at these levels certainly have a lot of schools that have some lineage of their own, right? You have these schools that have existed for such a long time. You talk about schools since the 1800s, the 1700s, in the case of at least Rutgers, schools that have been around since before the founding of America. So there is a lot of lineage here in the Empire.
RIP food trucks. Jamie Zimmerman, the leading scorer out of that division there, out of that conference there from Rutgers University, 21 goals, 12 assists, 33 points for Zimmerman. Lucas, you cannot send him NIL money as a Rutgers grad, so you will not be able to send anything. You will just do the show. New England Independent Hockey Conference, 3 teams here: Quincy College, Brown University, and Nichols College. This is another one similar to what we talked about just a few moments ago. No one with a winning record right now in this conference. We'll see how this one shapes out. Quincy, that first place spot right now with a 50% point percentage in their games in the early going. Upstate New York Collegiate Hockey League, St. John's Fisher University at 13-3-1, Jefferson Community College in second place. And you got to talk about centerman Cameron Weinbar, not just Dan Kay's 8th favorite place to enjoy a beverage, but 21 goals, 15 assists, and 36 points on the year, joining Kyle Giannett, who's got 16, 21, and 37.
Well, I mean, you look at a conference here that has a pretty wide disparity in terms of games played, And that's where the fun is. This is where the fun begins here, right? Because, while Jefferson Community College, they have the most games played in the conference, they'd like to see a couple more wins if they want to try to take on St. John Fisher. But then right behind them, you have the University of Albany, University of Rochester that are coming in, certainly with the 571 and the 500 points percentages. But I think there's a lot here that we could potentially dive into as we continue to cover the AAU, Dan. These upstate New York collegiate hockey here, the D3. I feel like there's going to be a ton of movement between now and our next episode.
What I love about AAU hockey as we get towards the close of this thing is just the disparity in teams that get to be in the same conference. You don't get to see this in any other level of play in any other place. You're talking about a St. John Fisher University in the same division, in the same conference as a Jefferson Community College, in the same conference as a University of Albany, in the same conference as Ithaca, in the same conference as SUNY Geneseo, and in a school like Mercyhurst. Right? This is just you get a little bit of everything. Hobart, Lemoyne's in this conference. Just so fun to watch the disparity, the schools you get to go play against, that you go to get play toe to toe with. There's nothing like AAU college hockey, and we are going to be talking about it nonstop for all of you folks at home. But more importantly, we need you folks at home to be a part of the content. How do I do that, Dan? You asked the question. Well, let's find little Dan. Dan, how do they do that? Well, here's what they do, okay? Do they just sit at home and yell at the screen? No, they don't do that. They reach out to us. That's www.dankshow.com or at @the_Dan_K_Show Instagram? No, Instagram. Not Instagram, which is instantly calling my grandma every time I'm upset about Rutgers being too good at hockey in the AAU Division 3. Instagram, okay? You want to do that. And then, you can go to Twitter, X, if you want to call it that, whatever you want to call it. You can go to Facebook. You can go anywhere. If TikTok still exists, we're on there. We'll see about that. At @the_Dan_K_Show. Lucas, what else are we going to tell folks?
Just to be a part of the show. The whole one thing that we've learned in the last 10 years of covering hockey is that the show's a lot better when y'all are involved, right? Yes. Send us DMs. You can use the contact page, www.dankshow.com. We have content about a bunch of stuff. We've spoken a couple times about James Blano, who writes our NCAA hockey coverage, right? We've got the work that Dan and I do, which is just hockey coverage, everything from Hockey 101, a series explaining the new CHL decision and the reshaping of the college hockey landscape, all the way to power rankings of various junior leagues, or coverage of just some things that we like to see and don't like to see around the game of hockey. We try to be a complete source of news of information, but it is all based off of what you all can send us. So reach out to us on socials, www.dankshow.com. Let us know how you're watching AAU hockey and what you want to see from us.
That's what it's all about, hockey fans. We are here for you, especially the players. Dan K Show continues its players first mantra. If you want to get interviewed, you want to be a part of the show. If the boys are buzzing wherever you're playing and you want to talk about it, how good things have been, what the road down the stretch looks like, or just about the school that you play for and why others should go play there, again, reach out. For Lucas Jones, parting words. For Dan K, my parting words are thank you. Thank you to the leadership of the AAU for letting us be a part of this, for letting us put this content together. There's so much to come from this partnership. We want to come to rinks near you starting next year. We want to start doing some college game day. We want to start putting on the show that you all deserve. When Dan K's on the mic, it's always hockey night.